YouTube, how's it going? Yeah, so it's been quite a while since I recorded. I think it's been maybe a month or two. So I imagine most people are probably thinking, well, he started his little 30-day program and was all upbeat and excited, and everything was going really good, and then he stopped making videos. So it would logic would dictate that I've failed, right? And I stopped making videos because I needed to save face, and I realized the reality of things is that I can't succeed, and that I have plenty of excuses why I can be a mediocre guy for the rest of my life, and why I can never get up and accomplish things, right? Well, if that's what you've been thinking, well, you couldn't be more wrong. I did stop making YouTube videos, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but for one thing, I wasn't really getting anywhere with anyone, and I know I won't for quite a while. It just really wasn't my main focus. I had other things, a lot of learning and things that I've been doing. But just to give you a little bit of an update now, so I started the 30-day program, Earl Nightingale's 30-day, challenge, I guess you'd say, on, I think it was September 31st, so I think right before November, or maybe it was August 31st. Either way, it's been, I think, we're coming up right on 4 months. I think actually today is 4 months. Oh yeah, by the way, Happy New Year. Today is the 2nd of January. So yeah, so it's been 4 months for me. I think the last time I've talked to you guys is probably at least a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. So since then, I made it clear that things were going incredible in my life before, and things were getting better and better. Well, things have not stopped getting better. I'll start off by saying that when I started the 30-day challenge, I was a truck driver. I had no hope of where I was going to go, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I really had no goals, and since then I've accomplished making a lot more money per month, which has been nice. But the biggest thing is that as of next week, I will no longer be a truck driver. That was one of the first things that I thought about. I went in this and I decided, okay, well, how am I going to do this? And I jumped on the whole internet riches bandwagon, and I set up a Shopify store, and it could have been very successful if I would have stuck to it. But I realized it's not what I wanted to do. I had no interest or passion in it, and I'm not going to go. Maybe I might learn aspects of that'll help me in other things that I want to do, but it just wasn't my route. So I stopped that. I shut it down, and I decided the next logical change for me, the next logical progression for me, was going to be to move up in the company that I'm at. So I decided that instead of driving, I just really don't. I love driving, but I didn't have. There's no room for me to grow in driving. You get as good as you're going to get, and then after that, the best you can do is just not get in an accident and do your job. Well, I'm not learning and I'm not growing just by being comfortable like I've been. I've focused my whole life until 4 months ago on being as comfortable as I could be and making a living wage as easily and lazily as I possibly could. So I decided it's time for me to get out of my comfort zone. It's time for me to step up and grow myself and push myself to the future that I want. Among those being the $1 million by 2020, which I'm very much still on track with. And so this law of attraction thing is just absolutely incredible. I decided one day that I said, okay, that's the next logical step, is I'm going to move up in my company. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to be a manager, or maybe I'll be a safety guy. I don't know what, but I'm going to move up. I'm going to do something that challenges me. And I said that, I think on a Thursday. I said that to myself in the morning. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And the next Monday, I decided that's what I was going to do. I even wrote it down. I wrote down my goals. I said, okay, by, I don't even think I put a time frame. I just said the next thing I'm going to do is move up in my company. And I put it out of my mind, and I just went back to what I was doing, learning, YouTube University, all that stuff. And that following Monday, I believe it was, so less than a week later, I got this weird like intuition, this like strong feeling that I needed to get on and see what was available in jobs. I hadn't really looked for quite some time, and it hadn't been on my mind. And I was like, I'm going and I'm doing stuff, and I'm like, okay, it's just nagging at me. So I stop what I'm doing and I pull up my company's available positions in the area that I'm at. And the first one that I see is, honestly, now that I think about it, the most logical next step for me, which was a manager. So I've been a truck driver, and this position it's called a transportation manager. It's basically overseeing 17 drivers. So basically stepping up, and I'm managing what I'm doing now. So I decided, okay, right then, I knew it. I felt it. Like, it drew me in. I looked at it and I felt it. I said, this is it. And so I said, okay, this is exactly what I asked for. This is exactly what I created last week when I said, this is what I'm going to do. So I wrote down on a piece of paper and said, I will get this position. Actually, no, that's not even what I said. You know what I decided? I said, you know what? Whether I get the position or whether I don't, I know I will get a position. I'm not worried about getting this position. But in making progress, in the interest of making progress, this is what I decided to do. I said to myself, I will have the best interview I've ever had in my entire life, and I will create the best resume I have ever written in my life. So that week, or actually that day, later that day, I was so pumped up. I was so decided I was going to go for this that I went and I told the manager that was hiring, and I said, watch for my application, because I'm going to have an application and a resume in there by Monday. I think by all the stuff that's gone by, I think it was like Friday. And so I told him, by Monday, I will have you will have my resume. So I went and I spent 12 hours. I thought, 3 or 4 hours, I'll have an awesome resume together. It took me 12 hours. But when I got done with that 12 hours, it was the most badass resume I've ever had anything to do with. And it really just had to do with going on and looking at how-tos. I found a really awesome, easy layout, and I just did it. And I put it was like it was meant to be, because all the stuff that it needed to be on there flowed into my mind, which I have to believe that has something to do with the law of attraction and all the things that I'd been thinking up to that point. So I put in my resume just as confident as I ever have been, and so I put in my resume. The next thing to do was to have the best interview I've ever had in my life. Now, for me, that meant being able to go in there calm and confident, because generally when I do this stuff, I go in there rambling over my words, a bumbling moron, and I can't get a word out straight. And then they ask me a question and it just throws me off track, and I just derail and implode. And so I spent every bit of time that I had between them, which was a couple weeks, just learning how I could better my temperament, how I could keep myself calm. And the biggest thing for me I learned was that just not overthinking things, not just sitting there and agonizing about all the things that could go wrong. I literally, somehow, I know it's a lot easier said than done, but somehow I managed to just put it out of my mind and forget about it. I think because I made it not important to me. I made it in my mind like, all I'm going to do is I already turned in the most awesome resume, so I'm already 50% done with my goal. The other thing is just have the most awesome interview. And really, how hard is that going to be for me to stay calm when I know that all I have to do is just do an awesome interview? If I don't get the job, then it's fine. There's nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I went in there and I spent the whole day leading up to the interview. I made sure I ate just enough and not too much, just the right things, to not get me all wound up on a sugar high or something. And I went in there and I did a lot of breathing exercises. I went in there so calm and so confident, more than I ever have been in my life. So this first interview was just with the main manager that I had already talked to briefly. And I went in there and I knocked it out of the freaking park. Like, I felt like I was not talking. I felt like it was someone else in that interview. And every question he came up with, I had an incredible answer. I was confident. I was quick to answer awesome things. It was off the charts incredible. So I'd already met my goal. There's nothing, that was it. I'd already won in my mind. And so I said anything past that's just bonus material. So a couple weeks later, I had another interview. Right off the bat, he told me, he's like, yeah, definitely, we want to get you in here for a second interview, and you know, we'll see where it goes from there. So I go for my second interview, and this one's the one I really would have been nervous at. There was 3 very high up people interviewing me. You know, one of them oversees the whole division, the whole Northwest United States division of my company. So, you know, all these people that I had every right to be nervous around in my, you know, situation, I did the same thing and I made the same decision. I have no right to be nervous. I have no reason to be nervous because it's only icing on the cake at this point. And so I went in there and I shook hands right where I needed to shake hands. I gave eye contact just the way it should have been done. I threw out some jokes at a certain point. They were laughing. Every single question they came up with, you know it's going well when you look at them and you ask they ask you a question and you answer it and they go, wow, you know, that was their face almost the whole time and multiple times. And you know, I also knew it went good because they asked me a bunch of questions and I answered all of them very well. I know I did. And then following up, what a lot of people don't do is ask them questions more than like how much I'm going to make or what are my benefits going to look like. You know, I asked them questions like what are the most amazing, you know, like in a year from now after you hired me, what are you going to consider a huge success? Stuff like that. And essentially a lot of the questions they asked me, I asked them back in a manner of speaking. And every answer they had for me was almost word for word what I had told them. So I knew right then, there's no way I'm not getting that position. Sure enough, days later, I think it was another like half a week later, I think that was on a Thursday. That following Monday, the manager called up and says, yeah, they agreed with me that you are most definitely the person for the job. So we want to hire you. And then they gave me an offer. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed with the offer. That would have been something normally I would have said, oh, well, I'll just take what I can get because the bottom line is I'm getting the job and I'm excited. So I said, you know what? No. Everything's icing on the cake. So if I'm not going to get it exactly the way I want it, then I'm not going to get it. And so I said, no, I need this in order for it to work out. And I put out what felt like a fair to maybe a little bit higher than fair number. And they said, okay, we're going to have to get back to you. And sure enough, a day later, I got the new offer letter for exactly what I asked for, not a penny less. And so, yeah, so now I'm no longer a truck driver as I started out when I was on this journey. My social skills are getting better every day. I am making progress every day. There's some things I've slidden back a little bit on, but all in all, every single day, I am learning and growing. Every single day I'm listening to motivational and educational stuff that's bringing me closer to incredible success. And I feel it. I feel it in every ounce of my soul. Every person that I meet, I feel more confident. I'm married and I'm very happily married, but I've noticed girls are attracted to me more. I'm getting like more flirting going on. Like just every aspect of my life is getting better. And it's absolutely incredible. And what's even more incredible is that I'm where I'm at now, and I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. Like in 4 months from now, it would have doubled and tripled what I've accomplished in this 3 to 4 months. So if you still are on the fence, if you've watched any of my other videos or Nightingale or Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, You name it. If you've listened to those and you, well, maybe I should, maybe I do for a week. Get on this bandwagon. There's so much to be gained and so much crap to be lost. I mean, like crap, like the stuff that you don't need in your life. I'm telling you, if I could do it, anybody could do it. I'm telling you, I am that guy that no one would have ever guessed. Since I've talked to you last, I've had every single person from every walk of my life commented in one way or another, even if it was like for those real negative people that don't like seeing success, like a backhanded comment that is, that obviously shows that they're somewhat, I don't want to say jealous, but they definitely notice that I got it going on in certain ways and that things are changing for me. And it's people are acting different around me. I don't even start my new position until next Monday. I'm on my last week of my current job right now, and all the guys that I'm gonna be managing over, they are already calling me sir, and I'm already creating a rapport with them, which is awesome. And it's just, there's so much amazing things going on in my life. We just had Christmas. By all means, I shouldn't have been able to even, if I would have continued down the path I was 4 months ago, I wouldn't even been able to afford to buy freaking Christmas presents for my kids. And I so in deep in debt and we spoiled the hell out of our kids, and we had such an amazing Christmas, and we didn't even put any of it on credit cards. And I mean, just every aspect gets better. So I don't need to keep rumbling on and rambling on, blah, 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 blah. But all right, this is it. All done. Just do it. Here I am, successful.